Welcome back to another episode of Jays and Grays. I'm your co-host, Dave Hellum. I'm joined by my man, Eli Hamilton. What up, Eli?
What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? I hope everyone is having a fantastic day in this first real week of winter. Yes, the first real week of winter. People talking all that stuff and spoke it into existence. And what do you know? We got a damn snowstorm.
Welcome to episode 9, entitled Think Like a Man, Cry Like a Woman. And Eli, we got some guests on the show tonight, man.
Yes, we have some very special guests that I handpicked, and got to give them the proper introduction. The first guest we have, she has her own private practice. She's a licensed psychotherapist. Has her own behavioral clinic. So good that she even have 15 clinicians on staff. She's a certified balanced living coach, author, inspirational speaker, has a nonprofit that's amazing. I've even attended one. It's called the TMH Man Cave. You guys, give us a nice warm applause for the beautiful Tytannie Harris.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And we also have a personal friend of mine. He is the owner and founder of B3 Enterprise, a psych ed company. He's also a licensed professional counselor. He's a mentor, the former professional athlete, and he's my good friend. Everyone, give a nice warm introduction to Mr. Roshaun Bowens.
Woo woo.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So, guys, we are going to be talking about something that's extremely it's sensitive and it's not talked about enough. I think it's a hot topic, but so we're gonna have a impactful show this evening.
Come to Jesus moment.
Yeah. I don't care how deep it get, I'm still not gonna cry. Fuck that. But
before we get there, what's going on in the world this week, man? What are some things that have been happening?
You know, we always, man, look, I don't think it'll ever be a week that goes by that we'll just say nothing happened this week, because we live in crazy, perilous times right now. I want to give a disclaimer prior to us getting into this conversation. If you guys hear some screeching in the background, I'm sitting by the window and it's probably somebody getting stuck in the snow, because it happened a couple times. So just ignore that. But let's talk about this whole thing. You know what, James?
Don't
what?
do it.
What?
Don't do it.
I
know what you're gonna do. What you want to talk about? Don't do it.
Oh, you know we're gonna talk about it, baby.
Come on, bro,
hey,
please.
so so this past week, people went crazy and turned into stockbrokers when GameStop, AMC, Dogcoin. I mean, I never knew that so many of my Facebook friends knew about financial and the stock market, man.
About people who can barely conjugate a sentence. You know what I'm saying? Like a verb, like, hey man, like you should buy this. I'm like, nigga, you should buy some teeth.
Hey,
Really?
They were like, I had somebody call me, hey, man, you so stupid. If you don't get on this dog train, I'm like, dog train? What is that? Dogecoin? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't. I'm telling you. So tell me how. So really, basically, like a whole bunch of people just came in, said, F Wall Street and bought a bunch of stock, and we balling now. I'm like, that's all it took. Okay, no, that's not what happened at all. So for those of y'all who are not too familiar with what's going on with that situation, and James can chime in because he's been very in the forefront of this whole situation. But basically, so a hedge fund company, they shorted out a stock, and it was the GameStop. They basically did a short on it, meaning that they bet that it was not going to do anything and it was going to buy back extremely cheap. But Nowadays we live in an informational age, so there's groups. There was a Reddit group who knew about it and saw it and spotted it. So they say, hey, GameStop is extremely cheap right now, and they bought in at the dip. And whenever you put in a whole bunch of money into something that's not usually get it, what it does, it inflates it. And so the price shot up, I believe, from what was it, some $6 something to $100 or $400.
$480 was the peak.
$480. So
oh wow.
You think if you spent $300 and you got you about, I don't know, 50 to 100 shares, and it's people cashing out at $20,000-$40,000.
Yep.
So
I hear a clicking noise right now. I don't know if y'all can peep that, but it's just I don't know if you doing that mute because it sounds a little weird. I
don't hear anything.
I don't hear it.
Okay.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, but it sounds like it. That's why we having the show. But anyway, so basically, a lot of people cashed out, and these platforms who was actually the exchange trading, like Robinhood and TD Ameritrade, and was like, wait a minute, hold on, this wasn't supposed to happen, and they took it off, and now it's a whole bunch of riff going on with it. So now you got a lot of people who are forming these groups and stating man, I want to start learning to get in the stock market, and which is a good thing. I'm glad that it has invoked that discussion. But you have a lot of novice investors who are now proclaimed Wolf of Wall Street people now.
Okay. No, Eli.
I mean, I'm all
Why
for
you coming for them like that?
No one is saying that.
But
You're saying
I
that.
had some shame here. I had some shame here.
There's no one is saying that at all. You're making that up.
I love it. No, that's you. Goddamn it. See, yeah, you being sarcastic.
I specifically told people when I was posting about this that I am an idiot and not to listen to me. And everyone came for me like I was the Wolf of Wall Street. I told everybody, bro, don't fucking listen to me. I am an idiot. And hopefully...
Did you cash out?
Well, funny story about that.
He did.
He did.
I am sitting on an 88% loss because I refused to sell. So no, I did not cash out. I am still in. I lost a lot of money. Well, I didn't lose a lot of money. My initial investment's still in there, but I did lose, Eli. I did lose pretty hard. I saw the number go up, and I was very happy, and then I was very sad immediately.
I'm not a licensed investor. I just have my insurance licenses, but I do know a little thing or two. I'm not giving any advice, but here's just some
that's what I
simple
said.
advice. Do not if something like that spikes and you a week later, you are a week late. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, you're not buying at the dip anymore. You're buying at an inflated price,
right?
And next thing you know, it's going to correct itself. What that means is that it's going to drop back down, and you're going to end up losing a lot of money. So
all y'all trying to get rich fast, you little card crackers looking for your next scheme. This ain't it.
All your Susu Loom card cracking pyramid scheme ass mother effers.
You put in $4.
Say that.
I don't even understand the whole Susu thing. I've had people who are rich talking to me about Susu. I'm like, nigga, you know better than this. You got money. You got real money.
Man, we got 700 people in our group. I'm like, man, so when I'm gonna get my money back? Shit, I promise you'll get it back. I asked you, when am I gonna get my money back?
You gotta get in early.
All you gotta do is bring in 52 people. If you bring in 52 people in 4 days, you're gonna get your money back.
Why is it called Susu anyway? Does anybody know? Because it sound ratchet as fuck.
Right.
Come get in Susu.
Somebody auntie named Suzanne figured it out.
No, that's not it.
I think it's African.
I was just about to say it comes from African culture. So what we've done is, so it originally how it works is that people are supposed to pool their money together, right? and for one person, let's just say Dave, okay, we're gonna say it's Dave's turn. So me, Eli, James, and Ro will pour into Dave for Dave to start his business, right? So once Dave gets to a certain point in his business or makes a certain amount of money, then it's the next person's turn. That's really how it came about. We sort of came in and just kind of made it something else. If that makes sense.
And people got their PayPals locked up.
Yeah, but it can work though. Like if it's done the right way. I mean, people in African cultures and other cultures do this all the time. It's just
so you put in a contribution, and then everybody puts in the same contribution, and then somebody gets that pot, and it rotates.
Exactly. But like most people do it for businesses. Like if you say, "Oh, I want to go open up this grocery store," so everybody in our group will give you like, let's just say $5,000, right? So everybody will pour into you, get you going. Then once you get going, then it's the next person's turn. So you have to reinvest, and that's how they keep the money in their communities. This is how they do it.
But why can't that work in our community over here?
We don't trust each other.
All right.
And it's supposed to be, it can be internal for your family too.
Exactly.
I've seen it work where families pay off debt. So who got the less debt? Dave, you got $2,000 in debt. We all gonna chip in, pay yours off. Now you could have saved all kind of money.
That's an emotional investment to somebody. I get family, but like it just be random people in this shit.
Yeah.
The random, yeah.
Like, why am I helping you? I don't know you. I don't care about you. Like this sounds. So
you didn't do no susu, Dave. You didn't do none. Not like one time.
Nope.
Ask me if I did it.
I didn't need
do it.
Ask me if I did it.
Did you do it?
Don't ask me that dumbass shit. You think I did that? No.
I did. I did it with my friends though.
Did you get your money back? And some?
And some, yeah. Yeah.
Well, you are.
But I did. But I will say this, I did it with a group of people who I trust. Like I did it with people that I know. That's the difference. Not family, but people that I know. And I did.
Were you able to get out?
I got out early.
Got out. That's a good thing. I had a bill collector call me, and then before she got the phone, asked me did I want to join her susu room. I'm like,
no, she did.
Ma'am. I don't trust this, so I think I'm a pass, and I'm still not paying that bill. Thank you. So
I just don't trust it. I see it on Facebook, and I heard about it on Facebook, and I'm just like, I'm not going.
But let me just say this: if we put that energy behind our communities, and I'm not gonna go on no soapbox, and behind businesses in our communities amongst us, because when we come together, clearly we can do some things. I mean, we've shown it, and the energy behind the susu people, like you said, she like, hey, invest in my, pay your money into my susu. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
But that was the same that was the same words verbatim that bill collector said on the phone. She said, if we come together as a community, and I said, I'm still not doing that shit, and I'm not paying you until next month. So bottom line is like stock market, crypto went crazy last week. It still is. That was just some news. We also had no, you know what? Forget that. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into this, man. So for this show, a lot of people watch this show, not just in Chicago, but all over. But right now, Chicago is facing an epidemic with these carjackings, right? I don't know if anyone on here has someone that they know, friend or either distant friend or whatnot, even associate, who has been impacted by this. I know someone who was impacted by this, who was carjacked. But man, what's y'all take on that? That's crazy what's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I have a client who was affected by it. And what again, I'm not here to debate, but like, I think part of the problem is that a lot of the people who are committing these crimes are young, right? I know in my neighborhood that it's been happening during the middle of the day when they're supposed to be in school, right? Mm. So we have that element. These kids are bored, right? And what's so crazy is I don't even necessarily think they're like trying to hurt people. They're just, it's almost like I want to get a high off just robbing folks, right? Like, I don't know what you guys think, but like,
I don't live in Chicago no more.
Okay.
But from a distance looking in, like I remember when they were having like the riots and stuff, and people was boarding up stuff, and I was seeing like Facebook Live videos that were going viral. It just seemed like Chicago's like the kids, the youth, like I don't want to sound like the old man is like talking down to the kids. That's not what I'm doing. but the shit is bad. It's almost like
right. But with that, I will say this: when you feel like your village has given up on you, you're gonna tear down your village. That's all I'll say. And that's no excuse. But when you feel like nobody cares about you, people have forgotten about you, like that's the way that they want to deal with that. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that's part of it. How many times? Go ahead.
I get that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like the chicken or the egg, what came first, and why. Why like you have people being raised by people who don't give a fuck about them, so people are going to revolt, But that's a whole different conversation. Right. But I'm just saying the level of that I see with the youth in Chicago in terms of just like the level of like having no fear. Like that's what I see. Just a total lack of like, man, shit. If I die, I die. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the worst that's gonna happen to me.
But here's the thing. So I look at it from two perspectives. So I'm looking at it from one as it's unfortunate, and it's almost like, man, it's like you so angry, you know what I'm saying, at people just how they doing innocent people. I mean, there's old people getting robbed,
mostly women.
Gunpoint, women. Yep, a lot of women are getting robbed. There was a story, guy got robbed just on Tuesday, shoveling his car out. They robbed him at gunpoint. He didn't even press charges on him. 4 people. And then maybe that was done out of like, you know what, man, I got the money, or maybe I just don't want them to come retaliate because they did come in front of my house,
right?
So I live at, but and so it angers a lot of people. And then when you look in the comments section, on these articles and the what people are saying, like, those animals, it's a lot of racist comments, obviously, but a lot of people are pissed off. A lot of people are scared. I'm sorry, man, if somebody pulls me out my car and let's say you got your child in the back and they put a gun to you and they pull off in your car, it's like, yeah, that's traumatizing, and you're not really going to have a lot of, love towards that group of people.
Of course.
That group of people, we all grouped in, it's off default. You know what I'm saying? So how can you even get really, like, you kind of understand it because, even as Black people, we echo the same sentiments. You know what I'm
saying? Hey, so here's something that ties into Tytannie and Dave's point too, and it's a sense of hopelessness. So I worked in CPS for a decade, and it was a pervasive sense of hopelessness in the schools. So the only reason I'm from Tennessee, I'm a dirty South country boy to the core, right? One of the main reasons I'm here in Chicago, because when I finished my master's program and I was finna go back home, 50% of Black male students were dropping out of CPS high schools. So that's when I'm like, dang, like that's an issue, you know what I'm saying? So my presence and passion is really here. And over the course of that decade, one of the things that was apparent in the data, and there's data to support this, that a lot of the students, you know what I'm saying, feel hopeless. And that's kind of what you were saying, Dave. Like, I don't care about, it don't matter. And that is tied to, Eli, what you just said about trauma. So yeah, the person who got carjacked, definitely that can be a traumatic experience for sure. But but these young people who are committing these acts, you know what I'm saying, have experienced a level of trauma with minimum protective factors. So yeah, I just wanted to connect that.
Bro, I just shot you a text message. Try to look at your mic. It's cracking pretty bad right now. So I don't know if you might need to adjust something. But yeah, it's an epidemic right now, and it's really nerve-wracking. And I mean, even with myself, I drive the type of vehicles that they are looking for, that they targeted. And I'm, when I first heard about it a month ago, I'm like, oh damn. So it's like, just living in the city. I've lived in Chicago for about 14 years, and I've lived in at least 5 different neighborhoods, predominantly Black neighborhoods. And I've never been nervous. I mean, after a while, I just kind of get desensitized to living in Chicago with everything. But this is the first time in my whole time living in Chicago that I'm a little bit unsettled right now with what's going on, especially knowing that I'm being targeted. So this is what happened on Sunday. So Sunday, I was actually, my truck had got stuck. And coming into my garage on my block. And, you know, I never carry my gun with me because I caught a charge like about eight years ago, and it just changed my life. And I've just been nervous ever since to even be caught with a gun.
That was the worst New Year's Eve ever.
It was a pretty bad New Year's Eve, and it changed my life. But, you know, being everything that's going on, you know, I couldn't get into my block earlier, so I parked on Jeffrey, which is not a good block. And about 1 a.m, I walked to get my vehicle, came back, and I was pulling my driveway, and I got stuck trying to get into my driveway. And a dude was walking up, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, he's like, hey, fam. And like immediately I grabbed my pistol and I step out the car like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of had it next to my side. And it's like at that moment, I'm thinking like, you know, if this dude try to pull it, you know, I don't want no blood on my hands, but I'm not going out like that either. But also at the same time, I'm like, man, this dude might just mean well, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you can't be walking up to nobody at 1 a.m, you know, trying to help. Now, granted, you know, he helped me get out or whatnot, and I gave him some money for it. But that whole mindset right there, it's like, man, there's so many people thinking like that. You looking in your rear view, your side view mirrors all the time.
Listen.
So you almost killed a junkie?
He wasn't even a junkie, man. He looked, you know what? He had like a little faded tattoo underneath his eye. I mean, he probably been in prison before, but he probably trying to change. Like he's like, man, I'm just trying to feed, trying to get some formula for my daughter. If you can help me out a little bit, and I've been helping people get out all day. He said, I see you got the banger with you. I promise you I don't want nothing. I'm just trying to help out.
That's a good segue into today's topic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You had to process so many different emotions at one time, and you just
quick.
Your own business, right? So the name of this episode is called "Think Like a Man, Cry Like a Woman," and it's basically dealing with shit that black men. And I hate to say it, somebody might say like, "Well, why just a black man?" I get it, but this episode we're talking about shit that affects the black male psyche. The same stuff Eli was just talking about, him just trying to go on with his business and get his car out the snow, but it's like, am I going to get shot? Am I going to shoot somebody? Like all these type of traumas, because let's call a spade a spade. This is trauma.
Traumatic, right?
Dealing with people who look like you. And I know we can't solve the issue today, but I want to talk about how to possibly fix this cycle. You know what I'm saying? What are things that we can do to break these negative things that are going on, the stereotypes? Because like I'm not bougie, but I like at the same time I see certain folks who look like myself as well, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going over there. You know what I'm saying? Is it fair? Is it a calculated?
Well, I think the one question is, Dave, just to kind of keep the topic centered is, you know, in terms of, you know, when dealing with black men and trauma, you know, first and foremost, what were we taught about manhood growing up? You know what I'm saying? You know, they say it takes a man to raise a boy, and I do agree with that. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of situations where single mothers have to raise the child. But what is mostly in your experience, Tytannie and Roshaun, like what is y'all experience dealing with the youth about how would they grew up in the household of knowing about manhood?
Go ahead, Ro. I'll come after you. Go ahead, Ro. I'll let you go first.
So for me, man, just speaking off the cuff, you know, it's the absent father. That's a traumatic issue that's pervasive. And just to share a quick story, hey, am I still like cracking up?
Yeah,
a little bit, yeah.
No, you still cracking.
Dang, I don't know what's going on. But it's the absenteeism, you know. And I had a third grader tell me that I don't understand their situation because you got a father, Mr. Bowens. You talk about your dad all the time. And that was deep to me. This is a third grader. Like I was doing a group. And then the other third graders started chiming in, and it turned into a roast battle of who father is the most absent. And it was sad, but it was hilarious. These were some witty third graders, you know, But what that let me know is, as someone who did have a father and got poured into, I still can name principals, coaches, teachers that made me into who I am today. So what they let me know is these young men who I'm in front of, they need even more love and support and mentorship and guidance because they don't have the same type of love in the house all day, you know. So when you say what are they learning about manhood, I really don't even know because if the fathers ain't there, then where they getting it from?
Exactly.
Media, hip hop.
Exactly.
They mama, and shout out to all the single moms out there doing their thing, you know, but I too subscribe to, you know, it's only so much a mother can do because she's not a man. You know, and vice versa, you know. So
you think that's the primary, one of the primary reasons is the lack of just a male figure in the household to why people are kind of like feeling these things?
Well, I mean, I think it equates to probably just black leaders, man. I mean, as men.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in and say that. Yeah, I made this may be an unpopular opinion, so I want to just kind of chime into what Rose said about the fathers not being there. I think yes, that's part of the issue, but I don't think that's the only issue because the data doesn't support that. So how can I say this? So I did a TMH Man Cave on debunking the myth of the absent Black father because the numbers are not there like we talk about it, right? Like, Ro, the first thing you said was fathers not being at the home. Yes, that's true, but I'm gonna challenge you a little bit. What we don't talk about is like what Eli was, what you just said about coaches and you know, mentors. But what we don't talk about is what's called like that non-custodial father. So that's the father who may not be in the home, but he's taking the kids to school, right? They're coming over on weekends, right? There may be an uncle around or a brother around. So we have to acknowledge that when we talk about that, right? There are more Black fathers involved in their kids' lives than not. I have to say that. You know, I have to just say that. But the narrative that we hear and what we, you know, and what we think we see is that they're not, and that's just not true.
Who's pushing that narrative?
That's a great question. What I was going to say is, if you look at the data, there are more. So we talk about custodial and non-custodial, right? So there are more non-custodial Black fathers in their kids' lives than any other race. You can look up the numbers. But again, the narrative that's being pushed, we feed the narrative sometimes, right? Media feeds the narrative, right? The narrative comes from, you know, the way society has set us up, right? And we can go, and I mean, I know this is not the topic, but we can go way back in the 90s, right? When these things are put into place to keep, even before then, to keep the father out the home. When you tell people, you know, if you work a certain amount, you know, if you work a certain amount of hours and you can't get, you get these benefits, or, you know, again, that's a whole different show, but I just have to say that. But when we talk about bringing it back to men, what I see is a lot of men were taught, they weren't taught to be men, they were just taught not to be feminine. That's it. I think that's part of, and what I mean is they were taught not to be feminine. And what do we equate with femininity? Being soft, crying, right? Expressing how you feel. I think that's part of it, based on just my work and what I see.
But how is that being taught? Because I mean, I'm glad you said that. We're actually gonna that's one of the talking points about vulnerability.
Right. And when I say being taught, what I mean is, think about, I don't know if, you know, I'm not a man, but I can go back, you know, I have brothers, I'm a daughter, you know, I work with men. And so I think it starts early. The minute a little boy bumps his head, what do we say? If he falls down, what's the first thing we say?
Stop crying.
Exactly. That's where it starts. So when you tell a young boy to stop crying, he internalizes that and says, oh, that must mean I'm being weak. I can't show emotion. So then when this young boy grows up and he has all these pent up emotions that are deemed weak, we wonder why he's out here robbing people, fighting, getting in trouble, because he had no outlet for those things. So it starts young. We have to let boys know that it is okay to cry. It is okay to have feelings. You're human before anything.
I want to address that. I'm looking in the comments, and someone stated about, what about the mothers who keep the fathers away out of spite? And he says his sons have been without him for 2 years out of spite, and now she allows him to see him, but constantly tells him that what somebody else does or has done for them out of spite. So he uses the out of spite. He's obviously pretty upset, you know. Yeah. So I mean, you think about how that is impacting the sons, his children, you know, and then it's impacting him as a father, you know, so how's he going to be able to deal with that getting into his next relationship? You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of things, because, you know, a lot of the narrative that we hear is that the man walks away, the man in the home,
and that's
men
not
need to
true.
raise their kids, yada, yada, yada. And so he's like, well, I mean, there are men who are trying to raise, I don't have children, right. But to him, I've heard the same story on a few different occasions. You know, how do you deal with that? How do we start having that conversation?
As a teacher in Chicago and Atlanta for 12 years, I'm not saying the narrative is, I can't say it's all bullshit.
No, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the narrative is not let me just correct. I have to say this. I'm not saying that that's not valid, but I have to point out the data doesn't support the narrative all the time, right? Okay. You get what I'm saying? The data doesn't support that. There's this narrative that Black fathers are just absent across the board, and that's just not true. Just because a father doesn't live in a home doesn't mean he's not there. When a woman goes to the doctor, when a woman goes to visit a school, a single Black woman, we automatically assume the Black father is not there. With no information, would you agree? We automatically assume that. And bro, what you think? Like, you automatically assume that, and oftentimes it's just not true. It's not true. I have brothers who are not with their children's mother, but they're great fathers. They're just not in the home.
There's so much anger inside a lot of these young males that I was teaching. I was an urban prep on the West Side. This is like 5 or 6 years ago. And, you know, I found that when I would try to talk to my homeroom, like my pride, I think we call them pride, you know what I'm saying? Like the kids I was responsible for mentoring. And when we would try to get into the shit in terms of like expressing yourself, some dudes would like physically get upset because you're trying to make them feel something. And it's so much hurt. It's so much like,
you know why, right?
Them. It's like they don't know how to process what they're feeling. It's like, that's the first step, I feel like, just being able to say like how do you feel about this shit? Like,
right. Well, when nobody has ever asked you how you feel, then you have the opportunity. Of course, you're going to shut down. You don't know what it's like to be able to express yourself and feel safe in expressing yourself.
Somebody said, "Stop trying to be my daddy." I said, "I'm not trying to be your daddy. I want to talk to you about what's going on inside." And I think that is a big thing with us, is that we don't know how. I won't say we don't know how, but we are not comfortable articulating what's going on in terms of.
Is that a result of not being able to talk about it? Because I mean, that was another talking point we have. How does holding those things in affect us? You know, when you're not able to really release that, and you don't have nobody that you can even confide in. Like, you don't even trust nobody enough to even confide in. There's so many people that's internalizing the things, like you said, that doesn't even really know who to talk to it about. You know, and I was thinking about some things too, like, you know, and I'm trying to stay on top of what you just said, Dave. You know, when you hear when you listen to these rap songs, when a lot of them, like, you know, it's just me and my bros, all I got is my niggas, blah 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 blah. You know, and it kind of makes sense because it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, you know, it's like when you go to college, right? For example, I just want to use a quick analogy. You know, when I go to college, or when I went to college, you know, I met some guys who was over there talking to a group of girls, like, "Oh, y'all like to get on chicks? I do too. Let's be friends." Hey, right? And then you kind of equate that to that right now. It's like, "Oh, you grew up in a fucked up childhood house? My house fucked up. Let's be on bullshit together. Hey, just me and my bros, all out on bullshit." And like, these dudes, really, that's like they family, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like they confide in each other, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they language of communicating is really inflicting outwards. What they call that, something anger, misdirect. You know what I'm saying? Help me out here. But
misdirected,
misplaced anger or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, misplaced anger, and that's on everybody else. But I'm just saying, like, it kind of makes sense when you think about it, though. You got a group of hurt cats out here terrorizing the community, and a lot of people looking at them like, "Oh, y'all just animals, y'all thugs, da 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 da." I mean, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than savages, whatever. It's deeper than that.
It's way deeper than that. But the issue is, how do we? And this is for you too, you know, Tytannie. How do we begin to fix these things? I mean, not even fix, but how can we heal?
Yeah, so that's a great segue. So I created my nonprofit TMH Man Cave to eliminate and bring awareness to the mental health needs of Black men. This is how I feel like I want to help Black men in their healing. So I created this platform not only because of my work as a therapist, right? Obviously, you know, I work with men, but because I am a sister. I am the daughter of a father who still to this day struggles and doesn't understand the essence of what it means to be a dad and be emotionally available. Okay, so this journey is personal for me as well too. Yeah. And so I think part of it is, for one, we have to acknowledge that society does not allow Black men to express how they feel. Black boys, Black men, period, right? We have to create spaces where TMH Man Cave comes in, that where men can feel not safe, because I don't think Black men ever feel safe sometimes. I'm gonna say it, I'm not a man, but just based on some of the things that I hear in the work that I've done, you don't feel safe. So I like to call TMH Man Cave a brave space where men can talk to other men about what's happening for them, right? And so I think that's number one, acknowledging. Number two is saying, okay, it's okay to want to work on your healing. Anytime a man calls my office and says that he wants to come in for therapy, I tell him that I am proud of him. And the weight, you can see the weight just being lifted. They say, well, why are you proud of me? You don't even know me. Because you are saying I choose you. You are saying I'm not okay and I need some help. It takes a lot for a man to admit that. Think about the way, you know, society views men, particularly Black men. You got to be strong, right? You can't have any feelings. You know, you can't let anything bother you. And that's just a bunch of crap, right? I feel like if we focus more on the healing of Black men, we'll heal more as a community, because we need y'all. Y'all are our leaders. We need y'all. So my whole thing is, if y'all good, then we good.
Well, you made a point. You said that society does not necessarily want to listen to Black men, like in terms of what they feel. So that's trickled down in terms of like how.
Yeah, I said society hasn't created a system where Black men can feel safe to express how they feel. Yeah, because Black men seek judgment, right? They face judgment when they want to express how they feel. We're talking about it right now.
How can we create spaces amongst ourselves, like how can we change that narrative amongst just me? Because me and Eli were having a conversation recently, and I'm not trying to go off topic at all. Like this.
No, you're fine.
But this is a couple weeks ago, and I was talking about a situation where somebody did something, another Black man, that hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was talking to him about this because I felt like this is somebody I considered a friend, and what he did to me was fucked up, in my opinion. And then he was like, "Man, I don't think I could ever say that as a man." He said to another that another man hurt me, and I was like, "But it's the truth."
Yeah,
and that's a point, because to your point, that was actually a talking point. Like me personally, I have a problem with being vulnerable. I have vulnerability issues. I look at that as a weakness, you know, and you know, from it probably stem from me just like having to fend and deal with a lot of situations and by myself. Yeah. And I'll never forget this. This resonated with me in college. I had one of my best friends. We still friends to this day, and one of my best friends. But we had fell out for about 2 weeks. And I was talking to my older sister. She passed away, but she had told me, she said, "Don't you ever let another man make you get in your feelings." And I don't know what made it, but that triggered me. And I'm like, and it just resonated with me to this day. And I'm like, you're right. You know what I'm saying? You know, I can see you being hurt by like in a relationship or a woman or something, but another dude. You know what I'm saying? So, I had, with me, I've had situations where, somebody that I considered a friend or whatnot did something, and instead of letting it go into the feelings ramp, you know what I'm saying? I chose the aggression ramp. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, this dude got me feeling some type of way, man. Fuck you, blah, 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 blah. That's vulnerability to me is something that I have a problem with personally. You know what I'm saying? And I might have to do a session off record or whatnot. But I know that I'm not the only one who feels like that. Why is it so hard for men to be vulnerable?
Well, you just said the seed was planted in you early.
But I mean, it was a one conversation, and at that point I was in college, so I was grown. It's just that just resonated with me.
And I was gonna say, oftentimes as women, and and I'm probably gonna get slack for this, and I talk about this. Oftentimes we don't even create the space where you feel like you can, right? You just said that she told you, you don't let other men get in your feelings, but I think it's a cultural thing. Like men, again, men are not taught that they can have feelings, and you can. It's what makes you human. Which is why I do this work. Like when I think, Elijah, when you talk about being vulnerable, I tell men all the time, being vulnerable is very masculine. If you are emotionally, we talk about men being financially well. How about being emotionally and mentally well, right? That's what makes you a man. But we have to continue to tell you guys that, right? We have to create the environment where you believe it's okay.
Okay, but how do I go to another man and be like, hey man, you hurt what you said made me feel some type of way.
I tell you, like my clients say, y'all have your own language, right? Like, for example, like men, there's a man code, right? And there's man language. Can we agree with that? Like y'all won't say like you hurt my feelings. Y'all may say something like, excuse my language, bro, that was fucked up. That's the same thing. That it means the same thing. Exactly. Just like, right? It means this. If I say, Dave, you hurt my feelings, and I said, Dave, man, bro, that was fucked up. It's the same thing. You are doing it. We just label it different. Does that make sense? That's saying most men are going to say you hurt my feelings, and that's okay. Like I tell my clients, you can express how you feel without saying how you feel, if that makes sense.
But that's still an issue to me, the fact that we still have to sugarcoat.
You don't though.
That ain't sugarcoat. That's that passive aggression. Like, man, and again, you could tell somebody the way we communicated. Like, and I'm just using myself for example because someone who actually experiences that, I would rather either one, cut you off completely, or two, just come at you real disrespectful and angry, and somewhere in that message you'll know, like, man, what I did must have really pissed them off, and I will let you know it that way. It's not healthy, but yeah, again, that's something that I deal with, and I'm sure, like I said, I'm not the only one, but that's a form of vulnerability that yeah.
But here's the thing: the person that you're talking to, you have to feel. It's almost like this. You want to feel comfortable telling them how you feel. It seems like you don't have those spaces, right? Like you don't have that. That's why, again, this is why I do this work. And we're at the TMH Man Cave. I want you guys to check it out. I'm gonna keep pubbing it. Our next one is February 20th. You should hear some of the things that these men say at this event about this very same topic, about not being able to say how we feel. And men have said, you know what? You can say that. You just have to look at who you're saying it to. Right? You got to feel comfortable saying it in that space. And again, this is something you have to learn. This is not going to happen overnight. It starts at birth. We are just all raised differently, men and women, particularly little Black girls and little Black boys. It starts in childhood. I'm going to keep going back to it. It all starts in how you was raised. I tell people, anytime you don't deal with how you were raised, it will show up in your relationships. I'm sure the way you guys communicate with each other now as adults, I'm sure if we look at, and we don't have to talk about this now, but I'm sure we went back to your family history, it will make sense why you don't feel comfortable being vulnerable. It would totally make sense.
No, all this really falls under the umbrella of finding and being comfortable to really talk to somebody about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really under the thing about how can we make it okay just to be able to process our emotions. And I think that I don't care if it's through talking to one of your boys who you trust, talking to a psychiatrist, whatever. Like
two different things, because a lot of us will say, I talk to my friend, I tell my clients, talking to your friend is not therapy, that's therapeutic. Two different things. Going to church is therapeutic. Shopping is therapeutic. Playing ball is therapeutic. Working out is therapeutic. Those things are not therapy.
Can I be open about something?
Yeah.
Last night, I had my first individual counseling session. Like ever. And my Apple Watch told me to breathe. My heart was at 100 beats per minute before like anything was said.
Why was that? Can you talk about why do you think you felt that way?
I just had anxiety talking about the issues that make me who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like these are not things that I can talk to Eli about stuff. Me and him have had issues in the past. We talk about things, work it out. But I've never talked to anybody professionally. I've been to couples counseling before.
Okay.
Right? But I've never been to a one-on-one session where I'm saying, hey, I don't feel secure about this and I want to change it.
I'm proud of you.
But Nick, I thought I was having a heart attack. like
wow.
My heartbeat was at 101 beats per minute, and I'm just sitting in a chair. I had that physical anxiety last night.
And Dave, you just said a key word that I was gonna bring up, because I support the idea of men having to have a safe place. But real talk, I'm a self-help type person. I'm about looking in the mirror. So men just need to step their doggone game up and don't subscribe to this crutch of this idea that it ain't no one safe for me to express myself. You was expressing yourself when you was manipulating women. It takes a whole lot of savvy to manipulate women.
Yeah.
Like your mouth real slick when you talking to women.
Speak on that shit, bro.
And that's my point in saying how you express things differently. That you're saying it's the same thing.
Check it. So the reason why that a lot of men don't feel vulnerable, this and that, because you are, I'm gonna say you being weak and don't want to face your own insecurity. And that's the word that Dave just used, was like, yeah, man, that I have no security, that insecurity that we all have.
Yes.
Everybody insecure about something, right?
But Ro, the difference is men are not allowed to say that out loud. You can, right? You will. You like Dave just said it. Women oftentimes will feel more comfortable saying that. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm not saying I have to keep saying this because I want us to make sure that the listeners understand this. Men need to know that it's okay not to be okay. And that's the problem. It is. Now, once you recognize that, this when your point comes in, now what you gonna do about it? That's where that self-help comes in there, right? Now, what you gonna do about it? You in a space, now what you gonna do?
So let me ask you this. Have you had people who's come and spoke to you, who's pretty has a high sense of like self, who can already identify with some of the perhaps maybe some of the things that you tell them, like, this is what's going on with you, and like, yeah, I figured out, or maybe they can articulate what's going on with them, and they might just need a little bit of
like a high functioning client.
Yes, definitely.
Like a high functional.
All the time, I tell people, I see folks who are on the high end of the spectrum, severely mentally ill. We talking about psychosis and schizophrenia. Yeah. And I see folks who just, like you just said, who just want to you got to get to pull the stuff out. You just want to get them a blueprint on what to do. Yes, all the time. Yes. But the thing is, most of the men who come to see me have never talked to anybody about how they feel. Nobody. I had a 65-year-old client, 65, a couple of years ago, who was dealing with he was so stressed out that he had a heart attack, and doctor told him, your diet is good, you exercise, you're stressed. What are you holding in? I tell you, your body will hold on to your trauma. Your body will hold on to your stressors. You walk around with a headache, a stomach ache, a backache, you wonder why. It's the trauma, it's the stress you're holding on to. My client came into my office and he literally broke down. He said it was the first time I ever cried in my life, in his life. Because he said it felt so good to get out how he was struggling with his insecurity, struggling in his marriage, feeling like he let his kids down, feeling like he wasn't good enough his entire life. He had never done that. And for some men, they just need that. But also, like to Ro's point, I like what you said, Ro, once you get there, now what are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do once you get there?
That's I'm glad you brought that up. I want to address something I think is significant right now. In terms of like this whole, the battle of the sexes between men and women that's going on right now within our community. And whether people want to say it or not, there is a war going on between black men and black women. And, I hear a lot about, oh man, y'all need therapy, da, 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 da. And to me, like I get so tired of hearing that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not, it looks as if it's like, it's y'all fault, go get therapy. It's not us, it's y'all need therapy. Yeah, we all need therapy. As a community, we fucking broke. We broken. It's a bunch of broken people walking around. They say hurt people. You know what I mean? From your experience, why do you feel that, there are like black men who actually hate women? What is that? I mean, does that derive from therapy, pain, something that they, because it's not just one or two instances. People always say, oh, who hurt you? But like, what is that? Like, explain that from a professional perspective.
I think,
go
ahead, Ro.
That right there is kind of deep, man. But first, I do want to say that black men do need to come to therapy. It is our problem because we don't come. The numbers prove it.
I don't agree with that. But I'm just saying. But I mean, we can differ in opinion. But I don't agree with that though.
No, I know. We can pull the data. I'm not talking from opinion. I'm talking about from statistical data and my personal clientele for the last 10 years. Here's the thing though. Women are going to therapy. So yes, black women are trying to get themselves together. Like, you know what I'm saying? I see couples. I ain't never had a woman exit a session. Guess what? I have black men pouting with their panties on, leaving sessions in the middle of a session. I ain't never had a black woman do that. What's that about? Because all we talking about is a communication skill. You're lacking communication skill. Let's get real basic with it. Even though, and you such an expert on yourself, and something Tytannie said is, yes, you need to come to therapy. Your homeboys, church, exercising is not professional support, right? And I tell people all the time, you're an expert on your life. That's right. And that's the issue with men. This is me. You can't tell me nothing. I've been Roshaun Bowens my whole life. What's some stranger going to tell me about me? And that's what I tell them. You're an expert on your life. I have expertise and experience in psychology. We put those together, we can find a solution for whatever you're trying to do, for a goal that you set. Set your own goal.
So, bro, your point, you're right. Like, you're right. Men, I will say this. Men are coming to therapy more than now ever than I've ever seen in my professional career. So I have a smaller group practice. I mean, there's 14 of us. And so our number one population is women. It is across the board. I am the only therapist, myself and one other therapist. Black men is my niche. That's my specialty. That's what I do. That's what I study. And so I have 20 men that I see a week. I have another therapist who works with the men. She has about 15 men, but for the most part, you're right. Most of the people who come through my doors are women, which is why I created TMH Man Cave, right? So we have our free online wellness group. Eli, you know about this. It's free. We get about 8 to 10 guys checking in every month. It's always different. They come on. It's led by one of my male therapists. And listen, I wish the same men came on every month, but they don't. And that's just Rose's point. It's always a different group every single month. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't even care. This resource is here. Come on, go ahead, Dave. Yes.
This is like that session last night. The person I'm talking to was a black man, and it made it a little bit easier for me to talk to somebody who I could just feel could like get what I was saying or relate to myself. And I think that if we had more black men, and there are tons of people to talk to in terms of counseling, you know what I'm saying? But I feel personally for myself that if black men could talk to other black men and like through therapy, like psychiatrist wise, whatever, I think they would be more open.
I just told Ro, I wish I would have known he was doing private practice because I would have pulled him in. You're right. At the end of the day, people want to talk to people who look like them. I think if I had $1 for every time anybody called my office and said, "Is my therapist black?" I would be a millionaire. People don't even think black therapists exist. They always ask the question. And my intake coordinator, she'll say, all of
and they whisper it too like that.
And they whisper it because I have a group. So when you call, it's like, okay, this is your therapist. And they're like, they gotta be black. And she's like, everybody's black here. Like, yeah. It's like, yeah, people have to know like we exist. And I tell people all the time, there's not a lot of us. Less than 4% of psychologists in the US are black.
Well, we got to keep shining the light on y'all, man. Honestly,
I mean,
bro, I know you. I knew you outside of this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea you did what you did, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's when I was teaching in Chicago, that would have been a good tool to have, just to have like the black boys that I taught would light up when they would see other black men like come into their world and like come kick it with them, and not on some like community service type shit, you know what I'm saying? But like actually have a real bond with them, bro. Like,
but black boys need to know that they don't have to grow up and just be entertainers, athletes, that they can be therapists, that they can be comedians, that, they can have their own podcasts. Like they have to see more of it to believe it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that there's therapists who need therapy?
Yeah. Listen,
do a lot, and is there cases where some of them are giving great advice, but they don't take their own advice?
Well, as a therapist, I don't give advice. So that's not what I do as a therapist. I tell you, get advice from your friends. I don't give advice. I don't know if Ro agrees with me, but I don't give advice. Your friends give you advice. I give you tools. I teach you how to process what you're dealing with. I help you figure out why you're the way you are. I don't give advice.
Skills,
yeah. But yes, as a therapist, if you are a clinician, I think it's irresponsible if you don't have a therapist. Now, I have a therapist, have been seeing her for 2 years, not because something is going on, but because I go to therapy like I go to the gym for maintenance. And plus, I am responsible for the psychological, social, and emotional well-being for anybody who comes through TMH Behavioral Services. And right now, that's 150 people a week who amongst my team that we're seeing. At the end of the day, I am responsible for them. So I'm carrying that. So I need my own space to kind of let that, and my own personal stuff to kind of get that out. Oh yeah.
I want to say overall, man, I think we kind of have to hold each other more accountable.
I agree.
As black men, you know, like
I do. You're right.
When you see your boy saying some shit that's fucked up, but it's kind of like the status quo of what like y'all talk about in terms of like it's crazy. Like even when you hear people like man, that shit was retarded, and you be like, man, like we can't call it, we can't say that no more, man. It's kind of fucked up. And then people like, oh, you being PC. It's like,
you're right.
Am I being PC, or is it like really just kind of fucked up how you kind of like,
I call it men having their own advisory council. I tell my clients all the time, you need to be around a group of men, your advisory council, a group of men who will hold you accountable, a group of men who will call you out, a group of men who you can just talk to.
Man, people like to use the word, "Oh, you uppity now," or like you think you're better than me. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm better than you at all. But I do think that if we want to change something, we got to have some type of like ethical like level of like checks and balances. Like if we want to make real change.
But I will say this: you can say, "Well, I am better than you," because you sound silly right now. I'm just saying, but like that whole thing amongst you think, no, I am better than you because you sound silly. Like I'm trying to teach you something that somebody who cares about you. I am better.
Danny, I hear you, but I'm not trying to escalate the conflict.
I know.
Can you imagine talking to somebody like, nigga, I am better than you? Okay.
Hey, I just want to let y'all know that Dave's talking about me. So you kiss my ass, Dave.
So I feel like with Eli, you can say that. I'm talking about amongst friends. I'm talking about amongst friends.
And Dave, but listen, to that point funny. Though, I've been in a locker room after a game, and a guy was talking about what was going on in their life, and I would say, "Hey man, you sound kind of depressed." Man, ain't nobody depressed, cuz like, what you mean? Like, you know, and almost got upset. And I'm like, okay, right. Look, okay, my bad. Same conversation. I waited a minute, and I came back and said, "Hey man, it sounds like you've been down and out for a couple months now." "Yeah, man, I have been down and out a couple of months." "Hold up. So you've been down and out a couple of months, but you ain't been depressed for like a couple of months when the symptoms are the same, right?" And what people have to understand is you can have mental problems without having a mental illness. It's always so negative. Like when people hear anything about mental health, it's automatic negative, psychosis. No. You can have mental problems that you need to do maintenance on, right? And if you don't do that maintenance, then it can turn into a mental illness or a larger problem, right? So that's why therapy needs to be approached from an asset-based, skill-based, strength-based approach. That's why she was saying, no, we don't give advice. You know what I'm saying? Like, we help you build assets. We help you identify assets and give you tools and resources and skills that's going to sustain your life even when you leave our companies.
You're right. I tell people, not everybody who comes to see me has a mental illness. Mental health is about your psychological, social, and emotional well-being. And people say, what you mean your mental health? So your emotional well-being is how you think, how you feel, and how you act. But what's important is how you think, how you feel, and behave when life happens. That's your mental health. That's how you can test your mental health. When life happens, how do you respond? Are you reactive or are you proactive? Right? And a lot of times, particularly, a lot of folks are walking around here, you know, angry, sleeping a lot, you know, can't process information, and they're depressed. A lot of times anger, especially in Black men, is masked as depression.
So I do have something, and maybe like it's maybe a trigger that can you get traumatized from getting like a lot of parking tickets? You know, because like no, for real, because anything like I don't like anytime I see orange, I get triggered. You know, I don't like orange pills. I don't like the Bo Jacksons.
Your
I don't
ass
like
up.
the New York Knicks. Just because they got orange on them, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. No, I'm not paying that ticket. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Listen, who am I? Like I tell people, who am I to say that your trauma is worse than mine? Listen, that's traumatic for you, Eli. Hey, that's traumatic for you.
That's before my dad passed. He would always have this saying that, you know, where there is time, there is hope. You know, and I look at any situation that is like if it's fucked up, we can fix it, right? Like let's talk about it. I've had trauma with family members that I've tried to reconcile. It hasn't always gone good, you know. Sometimes it has, you know. But I just think we just got to get in the habit of just being open to talk about it. And people want to label you as like it's a person on Facebook who, like, whenever I post some positive stuff, they're like, oh. They do like this Photoshop image of, like, what's her name? Ayana
Fix My Life.
And
then they'll put like my face on her body because like I'm trying to talk down, and I'm not trying to do that, man. I just feel like people need outlets. They need to know that everybody has some shit that's fucked up in their life, and that this stuff can be fixed. But
social media will have you thinking that everybody's life is perfect. And that's
please
the problem.
Tell it. Talk about it.
People don't face their problems; they Facebook them, right? And so people look at Facebook. You see these images over and over again. You start to believe certain things, and you start to feel bad about yourself. Like, that's part of the problem too.
Let's talk about how taking social media breaks is healthy. You know, if I see something like, and I look at it like this: sharing violent incidents
called trauma porn is what I call it.
Trauma porn. And then, or seeing something that you going into the comments, you asking for negative energy. You ask because there's something in them comments that's going to trigger you.
Hey, so to answer your question, why it's healthy to take a social media break, this is why. This is one reason. One of the key stressors in life is when your self-perception is not aligned with your reality.
Yeah.
So the farther those two are apart, so your self-perception and your reality should be closely aligned together.
It should be.
The farther those two are apart, the greater the life stress, right? And your perception can be dictated and impacted by what? Social media. So what you think of yourself and what you're striving for may be too high. And somebody asked me, well, if I lower my self-perception, does that mean like I'm quitting on myself or I'm giving up on my goals? No. You just got to make an adjustment.
What does that mean?
Like, you got to make an adjustment.
Your self-perception, like lowering.
Basically, how you see yourself. So there's what we call. I tell clients all the time. Sometimes we walk around wearing these lenses, right? Where we see what we want to see. But when you remove the lens, you actually see what's reality, right? So you respond to what you think you should be or what you think it is, as opposed to what it actually is. Does that make sense?
If I listen to people's perception of who they thought I should be, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, because there have been people who have been like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Shut your dumb ass up, right? So it's like, nah, man. Like, I'm great. I'm gonna be great, whether you see it or not. So it's kind of like, I don't know if I agree with having people like say lower who you are in some way. Maybe it's just me personally. I don't know. But I was just trying to get a better idea what you were trying to say.
I don't think it's about lowering who you are. I don't think it's about so much about lowering who you are, but being realistic about who you are, being realistic about what's real, being realistic about what's perception and what is. I think that's what it boils down to.
A lot of people don't even know who they are, though. That's the problem.
At some point, I had to accept that I'm not going to the NBA. I had to accept that, and I had to make a life adjustment. I know people who keep chasing that dream and they waste 4-5 years and they delay other opportunities where they can use their skills.
But you know why they do that though, Ro? You know why they do that, right? You know why they do that? Because people are often scared of the unknown. They know basketball. So for them, it's like, it's only the NBA. I don't know nothing else. So I'm not ready to accept what I don't know. I'm not ready to accept another time in my life that I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I know nothing else but sports.
But at the same time, it's none of our positions to tell somebody, man, you should quit.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't know if I subscribe to that. No, yes.
Because it's not your place though. Because what if they do? Because
I disagree. I think it's okay for your friends to say, listen, like for me, if I tell my friends all the time, I'm not gonna
watch my friend burn themselves up. And at least I'm gonna say something. Now, if you don't take my advice, I'm gonna sleep well at night. But I'm not gonna watch you burn yourself up.
We gotta have accountability with those in our circles. We gotta have accountability. There has to be some form of accountability. Now, like Rose said, whether they take it or not is another story. But there should be some accountability.
Well, there can be an accountability, but it's a special way to do it. Like, yo, man, I'm trying to rap or whatever. Like, what, you ain't got no bars, bro. You
Eli, no.
Hey, I believe in you, but you trash. Here, put this beat on.
No, you don't have to say that. You can say, okay.
That was garbage. But I can say that's my homie. That shit ain't, you know what I'm saying? That shit when you sound like Silk the Shocker, fam, don't ever try to rap.
Eli, if you try to start rapping right now, I'm gonna advise you to cut it. It's a rap.
I would just challenge you to a battle rap and tell you if you win, then you could say that. If you can't, go to hell.
Dave, so you support Eli rap career?
No, hell no. I'm just saying that's E-Dad being like, no. I'm Butter Beezy.
Hey, look. All I'm saying is this. I know there was a dude who tried to hand me a mixtape last year. And the way I critiqued him, and this was a complete stranger, I'm like, fam. I said, I haven't had a CD player in 4 cars. I had a CD player 4 cars ago. You giving out CD play? People don't even listen to this no more. What is your other alternative? I'm like, you should think about that, my brother. And that was the way I gave him constructive criticism.
You should have bought his damn mixtape.
No, where am I listening to it at?
So he can get high. Okay, like you fucking up that man's day. All he wanted some drugs. You like tell him you should be.
Guys, this has probably been the most serious I've been on a 9 podcast. What you think, Dave? I haven't. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I've been on pretty good behavior tonight.
You had that same look last time, but you said you was bored. So
I've been listening because I probably need. I probably do. I need some therapy. See, look, I'm already.
Come to the online wellness group. Chime in on the event series. You guys got to come to the next event series. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? First and foremost, how do we even find a therapist? What do we even like? How do you even know how to even look for a therapist?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So times have changed. Ro could speak to this. Times have changed. So there's therapy for Black men, therapy for Black girls, melanin mental health, clinicians of color. These are, if you're looking for a Black therapist, these are all sites that you can look for. And I tell people, when you're looking for a therapist, first, ask yourself, why am I seeking therapy at this time? And it's okay if you don't know, but if you do know, I think that's important, whether it's family issues, personal stress, and then look for a therapist that you can relate to. When you go to a therapist website, you should be able to see some not personal things about them, but their bio, who they are, what their credentials are, what their focus is, right? You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't go see a substance abuse counselor if you felt like you were depressed, right? Like, it doesn't match up. Like, and you can ask questions. What is your specialty? Have you worked with clients like me before? Like, you can, it's okay to do that.
I met with my counselor last night, and he said something that was really real. He said everything that stresses you out, that makes you want to feel like trauma, comes from one word, and that's anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, whether it's talking to another person, and it's hard for me to talk to another Black man about something because I feel anxious because it reminds me maybe of experiences you've had with other Black men, or maybe your dad, or lack of a father figure. But I remember very, very, like, I was bullied in grade school for just being like, I wasn't fucking with nobody, man. I was just going to school, like wearing my little gym shoes. You know what I'm saying? I was smart. I wore glasses, but I didn't bother nobody. And I went to school with Black folks and white folks. But the only people that messed with me were the Black dudes, you know what I'm saying? Because like they saw that, they considered it to be a negative thing because they were not doing that well in school. And because I was, they'll make me feel bad about it, right?
That was jealousy, Dave. That was envy and jealousy.
I know all of those things now. You know
but as a kid, you like, what I do?
But it's just crazy what we put stock in.
Yeah.
And I think until we change that narrative of like you're okay to be who you are, whether you are smart, whether you are gay, whether you are straight, like it's just so many. And we haven't even gotten to that whole bag of like, you know, like homophobia that exists within like the.
That's another show y'all may need to do.
Like community.
We gonna do a part 2 to this.
It got to be a part 2. You know what I'm saying?
Because there's so much stuff.
But we have
so many questions I gotta ask.
You are allowed to be who you are, and until we start changing that narrative and letting folks express like who they are and what they need, this stuff will not change.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's changing, you know, now. It's pretty accepted and open in the public school system and curriculum and trainings on the CPS district-wide trainings. They have all the alphabet trainings, you know, so
bro, I'm not gonna play with you.
Your ass up, bro.
I thought I'm not laughing. I thought that was a real thing, alphabet training, because I don't know what the fuck that is.
I'm talking about having a conversation with your man.
Yo, did y'all hear? Hold on. Did y'all hear that they got this thing? Now, here's my thing. This is real talk. All right.
Hey, hold on real quick, brother. Hey, pin that, because I do want to highlight something Tytannie said in terms of if you looking for, because basically I co-sign everything she said, and I want to even highlight something. If you're seeking a therapist, it is okay to interview your therapist. Call them, talk to them. Don't feel, you know, you should ask their theoretical approach to make sure it's aligned with your needs. And if you call your therapist and they can't tell you, you don't need to go to that therapist. That's therapist
right.
Tell you their theoretical
orientation. That's why we do a free 15-minute consultation with anybody who calls our offices. We offer a free 15-minute consultation for you to decide if this is the person you want to work with. And so people need to know that that's okay.
Highlight that.
Yeah, you can interview your therapist. Yeah, that's important.
I'm gonna be asking if I when I call my therapist, whoever gonna be my therapist, I'm drilling their ass. Like, do you have experience dealing with people who? Yeah, I'm gonna be drilling them. But that's you ain't even heard what I was gonna ask. You already laughing. Let me tell you any.
I'm not even getting to it.
Here's my thing, and I want to bring this up too, because this could be, and we can actually leave it after this to try to like a cliffhanger for the next.
Male chauvinism.
Bro,
come to the TMH man cave.
That's not what I was about to ask. That's not even what I was about to say.
Come to the TMH man cave. They talk about all this.
Let them get it out.
What you trying to say? And I just want y'all to know this dude right here, Roshaun, that's actually my personal friend. So, and we've been behaving, but yeah, I was gonna be able to snap on his ass real quick because
You said what?
I said this is actually a personal friend, Roshaun Bowens is actually a personal friend, but. Yeah, he be throwing little subliminal jabs like he just did right there. But anyway, I saw this article and it said that parents are pushing for babies to be called theybies. THEY baby. Not a him, not a her. I have to mute myself because but a they. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they says that when they get old enough, they'll let them make the decision, which I think in my personal opinion is a horrible idea because we don't know what we look. When I remember when I was 4 years old, my parents asked me what I want to be, and I told them a Ninja Turtle. And I'm 39 years old. I can't imagine being identified as a Ninja Turtle walking around Chicago, and that would be pretty uncomfortable because I gotta live with the damn decision. You know what I'm saying? I just, I'm walking in, I'm getting picked on like, oh, who the fuck you supposed to be? A Ninja Turtle? And like, yes, I identify as Michelangelo. Like, whoop his ass. He think he tough. Like, I just want to get my gyro and go home. Like, I don't want no smoke. But yeah, like that's a horrible idea. And do you think that that's derived from some type of mental illness or something? Or because I know that's a real delicate topic right there when we're talking about the alphabet community and identify and cis, because that stuff is confusing as hell to me. Because I look at it like, look, if a 45-year-old man said I identified as a 6th grade girl and you go into and I enroll into your children's elementary school because it's the law now, and I go to a bathroom, you know what I'm saying, with a bunch of 6th grade girls. As a parent, I'm gonna have a fucking issue with that. I'm gonna have a super major issue with that. That's serious. So yeah, dude, is that mental? Y'all think that's some issues or what? Or is it just
all I'm gonna say is not mental illness. That's all I'm gonna say. We're gonna say it's not mental illness.
Yeah, you a professional.
It's not a mental illness.
Yeah, I see you got your reservations about that. You like, I got the TMH logo in the background. You ain't about to fuck my practice up. I don't think it's mental illness, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I get it.
It's not a mental illness. It's not a mental illness.
We can talk about this later.
No, but it's not a mental illness though, right, bro? It's not a mental illness. No, it's not a mental illness. But we don't have time to go into. It's not a mental illness. We know it is not. Just like when they try to say when we don't commit the crime, it's mental illness. That ain't mental illness. He knew what he was doing when he blew up that school. That's how I'm gonna leave.
Chad Wheeler, you weren't bipolar. You just beat your woman. That's the white football player.
Right.
For people who don't know.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
I think folks gonna do what they're gonna do, you know. And if that's not your school of thought, when you have your own children, don't do it like that, you know. But that's really all you can do. You can't be like, hey, that's a boy. Like you that's not gonna change nothing. Walking up to a parent whose child is a they, like, you know, like.
Right.
We gotta learn this in 2021 is that regardless of like how you feel, how I feel, don't fuck up.
Bro, this is
like
deep right here. I promise you, this is a whole nother conversation.
I don't subscribe to the day. I don't subscribe to the day. Like, so how are they determining the day? Like a hermaphrodite, or is
because I don't feel like the gender I was born into. So therefore, although
but you're a baby. But you're a baby.
No, I'm a thaby, sir. Watch your mouth, thaby. Okay, ain't no baby, thaby.
No, I agree that the child should be able to say at some point, "Hey, I don't identify as a boy or a girl."
Man,
but I don't agree with the fact that they're not going to be labeled as nothing until they are old enough to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? Like look at Dwayne Wade's son. I'm sorry, that's son, daughter. Now, right? So that's a very tricky situation. Some people be like, man,
his transgender daughter, right? His transgender daughter.
Right. There you go. Right.
Thank you, Tanny, for clearing that up.
I'm just again, like that's a whole nother show, but like that's I just want to put that out there. Like listen.
Hey, Tanny, I fucks with you. We got between these two screens, we got this synergy going on, and I'm vibing with you. But all right, but I digress. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey man, y'all cut that shit for when we get off the air, okay? But James, just cut the rest of this episode at Thabies and just throw it in the trash so that we don't get canceled by the people. Okay, so like when he said Thabies. Stop.
No, that's a real article. Do y'all want the?
Please, no, Eli. No, you're right. No, you're absolutely. When you said it in my head, I'm like, I'm not about to touch this in public. I'm not about to do this.
I can put the link in the comments. That's not something
I know it's real. I'm not saying that it's not.
So
real.
We can't talk about it. It's on NB.
So and gender fluid. And okay, I'm gonna go there.
Look at Ro shaking his head like, don't you do that? Don't.
No, so maybe because I got strong opinions about it because I don't fool with it at all. But maybe I don't need B3 to be represented. Like, people might misunderstand me if I'm not fully articulating myself, you know.
Exactly.
But I don't fool with the babies though. Like the babies are just doing too much. It's a reach, man. It's like we trying to like manufacture and just come up. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
You do know, but you just don't know how to talk about it because you don't want to get in trouble.
No, it's not about getting in trouble.
You don't want they to get you. Okay. See what I did there, guys?
Oh my God.
I'm done. Listen. Hey, listen. It's real. I will. Yeah. It's.
This is a whole different conversation.
I know.
James?
Are we still on Facebook?
Oh yeah, we're up still. So
shit.
You guys want to chase this down, man? Let me know. I'll keep it live.
So can I just coming to your counseling? Can I just rep the TMH Man Cave event one more time? I want guys to come out, follow me on Instagram at TMH Man Cave and Facebook. Our next event series for TMH Man Cave is happening Saturday, February 20th from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock via Zoom. Our panelists include relationship coach Inyatu Marvell, Dr. Stephen Nifley out of Kentucky, and former NBA player Katino Mobley will be our panelist.
Oh, from the Rockets.
And so we're going to be talking about, the topic is removing the mask, and we're going to be talking about how society views you, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your family, and your relationship with your intimate partner, and how that affects you and what roles you play. So it's going to be a great conversation. So I hope you guys join us.
Is this webinar or live?
It's going to be via Zoom. So guys have to register at tmhmancave.com, and then you'll receive the link to join the event. We're going to have a DJ. It's going to be a good time. You go to Instagram on TMH Man Cave. You can check out some footage from our last one.
Okay. Bro, you got anything coming up, man?
I ain't got nothing coming up, man. I'm just out here, man. I'm pretty much creating a workshop series that'll come out at some point, during the, second quarter of the year. But you can follow me on all platforms at b3psychology.life. b3psychology.life.
Okay, cool. Well, I can personally say I have been to a TMH Man Cave event, and it was amazing. And then I also went with Roshaun, did his business launch for B3, and just the structure of how he just going over all of his services and the way he explains it, I highly vouch for both of them, Tytannie and Roshaun. So I would just recommend it for anybody who's watching now or who's going to be watching this later. Follow both of them on their platforms. I'm getting ready to get myself in gear and find me a therapist. But just know that whoever's gonna be talking to me gonna have some work on their hands. And I ain't saying I'm fucked up, but I feel myself highly.
I am.
And if you shut your ass up, but I feel like whoever I talk to, I'm gonna definitely challenge them. And
And a great therapist won't be bothered by you. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, don't be trying to be all nice with me and we can't talk about that. Then you ain't the therapist for me. Because if
you need a lobotomy.
No, you need a lobotomy. Shit.
When they put the line across your head, you just smile all the time, like
Guys, we look. I love this. I like these type of conversations. Thank you so much, Tanny and Ro, for joining our.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you guys brought a lot of value this evening, and I hope someone got a lot from this. And make sure again, please follow these two, and,
yes, man. Please
follow us.
The podcast on iTunes, Jason Graves. This is episode 9. We're not just doing this just on here. It is also you can find it on like I said, iTunes. Subscribe to the page on Instagram, Jason Graves. On here, that's it, man. I think me and Eli put a lot of work into this show in terms of trying to make it like educational, but not preachy and fun. And people have been hitting me up tonight, being like, "Yo, this is a dope show. I'm great." So thank y'all for listening.
Oh, and then aside from that, Tanny, someone just said they wish they knew about you before. They used to live right down the street, but they would have definitely went. So
yeah.
But you can still do therapy online though too. So follow.
Yeah, so they go to tmhbehavioralservices.com is where my practice. tmhbehavioralservices.com. Like I said, I have a team of 14 clinicians. So and we take Medicaid, we take Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. We got folks who pay out of pocket. We take Molina, Meridian. We take everything mostly.
We should do a little reality show. We try to find you it's like Flavor of Love, but it's like Flavor.
Let's find you one. Let's talk about your
therapist.
No, you just got one yesterday. That was the consultation. Why you talking all that? It was so deep. It was 15 minutes. You ain't even had time to go deep. Your ass out of here.
It was so deep, but you wouldn't know because you scared to go.
I ain't scared. I just ain't had time, but I got time now. I'm going. Look, follow me, Eli Hamilton, on all platforms. No. I just broke out of Instagram prison.
It's Eli Hamilton with 2 N's on Instagram because it got shut down because he be out there doing that Hotep shit, and they was
Look, Look, let me tell you something. All my life I had to fight. They tried to shut me out, but I got another one, though, baby. Eli Hamilton, 2 N's. I got 16 followers right now. But
Eli Hamilton,
we on our way back
you,
up.
Eli. I'm about to follow you.
Thank you so much, and I'm gonna follow you back.
You could put no explanation point
why
on there.
Why is your page not functioning? What did you do?
I don't know. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, you got for 19 followers. I just now you got
19?
20.
Hell yeah, I had 17 2 hours ago. Yeah, we coming up.
Eli Hamilton with 2 N's. Eli Hamilton.
I'm in Cash App prison and I'm in Instagram prison right now. I don't know what the hell is going on.
I see you been in the gym. No, let me stop.
Yeah. I know, right? Go ahead, Shed. Yes. Health is wealth.
I see you.
Get myself together physically, mentally, all of that. Yeah. So follow me, follow Dave Hellum on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and then follow our engineer James Webb, man. He dope as hell, funny, and he has very strong opinions about crypto.
Come on. Dogecoin to the moon, baby.
So I guess we'll be back to do part 2 at a later time.
Let's do it like let's do a second quarter. Like we going into we just started February, so second quarter we can pick this back up in April.
All right, that's cool.
Hey, just like
both of y'all back on too.
Thanks.
Shout out to y'all, man, because I know y'all both are entertainers, and it's real easy to get caught up into what you naturally good at doing. So to intentionally select topics that there's a need for, I think is amazing, man, because this is a way, because we have to get this positive viewpoint of mental health and psychology out here through all platforms.
Right.
And me and Tytannie are 2 people who can get that message out. So just like we can go to the professional panels, and community events, however many people, even if it was 2 people, even if TMH get 1 phone call, if I get 1 follow, if I get 1 follow based off this show, now that's 1 more person whose perspective is gonna change about mental health because they follow TMH now or they follow B3 now, and that's only because you all created this opportunity to make that happen. So I just wanted to make sure I put that out there before we ended the show.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys, and I love your platform, and I really appreciate you just having me on, allowing me to come and talk about what the work that I do. It was a pleasure to see Ro again. I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing, and so this is good. Thank you guys so much.
Ro, before you leave, your last name was Bowens, right? Mm-hmm. So are you related to like Omari or like Lee Bowens at all? No.
My daddy's middle name Lee, but nah. All my people from Memphis. My Bowens people is from Memphis.
Okay, I just asked that question. Yeah, I mean y'all way different skin colors, so that maybe not a real thing, but I just had to ask on air. That's it. Very awkward right now.
Hey, don't say nothing for like 3 more seconds. Let them sit into that awkwardness. It's therapeutic.
Get on a leopard scarf. Shut your ass up, okay?
All right, y'all. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great night. Join us next Thursday, same time, 8:30 Central Standard, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
Yep.
Bye.
But